哎，这车子，哦，车子冲到车子下河哟，车子都给冲死了。怪得一个车子还在闪灯儿，不晓得里头有没有人呐。
这车子我冲走了。
In early July 2025, Hubei Province in central China experienced catastrophic midnight floods triggered by record-breaking torrential rains that overwhelmed rivers, reservoirs, and urban drainage systems.
现在是上班时都起不成了，走高速应该是没得问题。走了。旋风特大暴雨啊！你看，现在是凌晨的2:07分，朋友们赶紧起来上险救灾了，把各自的车子赶紧移到高处去，有门面的，把门面里面的货物赶紧给它收了，不然这个雨持续下去的话，等下损失会很大的。好深的水啊！我刚下去把那个车子给它移开了，我打了几个人的电话，他们就在睡梦中惊醒，来把各自的车给它移走了。那些店主啊都起来了，我们这楼下的啊，你看好深的水，好大，100年难遇的大水，翻桥了这个水，哇！
The disaster struck unexpectedly in the dead of night, catching many residents off guard as they slept, leading to chaos and devastation across multiple counties and cities, including Suizhou, Xiaogan, and Shiyan. Rainfall exceeding 200 millimeters in just a few hours caused small rivers and mountain streams to swell rapidly, breaching embankments and triggering landslides in hilly regions. The deluge submerged homes, disrupted electricity and communication lines, and swept away vehicles and infrastructure such as roads and bridges.
“看那个水哟，都涨到冰河路来了，不要再下雨了啊！我的天！”
水反复大，那个地方多大块？这河都要加宽了，9户都冲破了，9户冲破了。哎呀，9场受灾了呀，他们这里呀，他们这里呀，我那个。
Emergency services worked through the night to rescue stranded residents using boats and helicopters, but access was severely hampered by floodwaters and mudslides. Evacuation centers quickly filled with displaced people, many of whom had lost everything. The flood not only caused significant casualties and property loss but also raised concerns over climate change, extreme weather patterns, and the need for more robust early warning systems and urban flood management. Authorities issued red alerts for continued heavy rainfall, and teams from the military and disaster response units were deployed to reinforce riverbanks, repair damage, and deliver essential supplies. As recovery efforts began, the flood was declared one of the worst natural disasters to strike Hubei in recent years, prompting both national mourning and calls for stronger disaster preparedness and environmental planning across flood-prone regions of China. The midnight floods that devastated Hubei Province in July 2025 were among the most destructive natural disasters the region has witnessed in decades. Triggered by a rare convergence of meteorological factors, including a stationary Meiyu front, plum rain front, intensified by moisture-laden air from the South China Sea and a subtropical high-pressure system, the rains began late in the evening and intensified through the night. In some locations, over 300 millimeters of rain fell in less than 6 hours, far surpassing historical averages and overwhelming both natural and man-made drainage capacities.
是不是睡着了？
Thus deluge primarily impacted urban centers like Suizhou, Xiaogan, and Shiyan, but rural mountain villages were also ravaged by landslides and flash floods, making rescue operations exceptionally difficult. The timing of the floods, occurring just past midnight, was particularly deadly, as most people were asleep and unaware of the rising waters until it was too late. Entire neighborhoods were engulfed within minutes, as small rivers and drainage channels turned into raging torrents. In urban areas, drainage systems were clogged and insufficient to handle such volume, causing water to back up into streets, underground parking garages, and basements. Electricity grids short-circuited, and mobile communication towers failed, cutting off large parts of the affected areas from emergency alerts and coordination. In low-lying rural zones, hastily constructed dams and embankments gave way, leading to a surge of water that swept away homes, livestock, and farmlands. Emergency response teams were immediately dispatched, including PLA soldiers, local firefighters, and medical teams, but many rescue efforts were slowed by washed-out roads, submerged highways, and the total darkness of the night. In mountainous regions, landslides not only buried homes but also cut off entire villages, forcing aerial rescues using military helicopters. Dams in the region, including several medium-sized reservoirs, were reported to be under stress, and controlled discharges were made to prevent breaches, adding to downstream flooding. Thousands of people were rescued from rooftops, trees, and floating debris, while others tragically perished in their homes, trapped by rising water levels. Hospitals in cities like Suizhou were overwhelmed with the injured, many suffering from hypothermia, trauma, or infections from contaminated floodwater. Relief camps were set up in schools and community centers, but food, clean water, and sanitation quickly became major concerns due to logistical challenges. The government declared a level 1 flood emergency, mobilizing national resources to support Hubei. Satellite imagery later revealed vast swathes of farmland and infrastructure submerged under muddy water, highlighting the scale of the destruction. Beyond the immediate impact, the Hubei floods raised serious questions about China's flood preparedness and climate resilience. Experts pointed to rapid urbanization, poor land use planning, and outdated drainage systems as key factors that worsened the situation. The event is now being compared to the historic 1998 Yangtze River floods, though occurring on a smaller geographical scale. It also reignited discussions around global climate change, with scientists warning that such extreme rainfall events are likely to increase in frequency and intensity due to warming temperatures and altered atmospheric circulation.
紧急通知：因农洞水库水位持续上涨，已达到汛涧水位550米。根据农洞水库泄洪规程，将于30分钟后开闸泄洪，请沿岸市民注意。
In the aftermath, the government pledged billions of yuan for rebuilding and upgrading flood defenses, but for the tens of thousands of families who lost homes, loved ones, and livelihoods, recovery will take years. The Hubei midnight floods of 2025 stand as a grim reminder of brutal unpredictability of the urban rainfall. Integrated disaster risk management and climate adaptation strategies in vulnerable regions.
那些桌子、板凳，么子那些是个么子桌子倒起的，看到空气跑的，像划船的，那些东西，看嘛，街上像河，这儿好大个坡，拐的的，那又是个拐的，看到，开始拿那个棚盆那些，你看到。 看啥棚盆看喽，那些东西看喽，都给我吹起跑哦，像人多高的棚盆看喽，飘起都给我跑的，你看吓人不？